Okay, so I'm doing a diagnostic on the car. See, the inspection light is on, which normally means service, full service needs. Let's see the diagnostics. There's quite a lot of faults, so we'll let that run. And while that's running, I want to show you something here that's very important that I found. I always start with the basics right at the bottom. Check the oil. So if you look there, I don't know if you need more light than that, but you put it in the light, there's no oil on that stick, nothing. Let me wipe it off and try and see again. So yeah, I don't know when last the oil was checked. I don't know if the oil light came on, but I mean, there's no oil on the dipstick at all. It's totally dry. So what it means is, it doesn't mean the engine is dry, there's no oil in at all. It just means that it's at least a liter short. That's the only thing the dipstick can show you, is how many liters short are you so far, and this is a liter short at least. Okay, update on the car. Just want to be, I had to strip quite a bit here, the battery and all these things had to come out, and then I took out the starter motor, which is here. There's the starter motor. It seems to be turning fine, but I can kind of verify that the starter motor is probably okay. Let's go down. I'm going to show you the bottom. I have to put on the flash. Okay, so I took off the alternator belt because I wanted to see if there's any resistance, maybe from the alternator belt. There's the roller, it seems to be spinning. So let's go to the bottom of the car and show you what I'm trying to say. If you look here, let's just go to the, this is the alternator here. So I took the belt off, so there's nothing holding the engine back. Like sometimes the alternator seized and feel like the engine doesn't want to turn, so that's spinning freely. Be happy. The second thing that spins here is this. This is the compressor, so that's not seized, spinning fine. But what is not spinning is the crank. And you know, I kind of had a feeling when I saw there was no oil on the stick that this car probably had oil starvation, and if I push here it's tight. So this makes it a big problem, not a small problem. So yeah, either the valves are all bent. I need to now check the cam belt here. I have to drain the oil to see if there's metal filings. That will tell me that the engine just ran dry. I think it's that, because the oil stick is telling me that. But I'm going to check if the cam belt is still on, so we can see if maybe the belt snapped. That's the only other thing that it can be, otherwise it's the engine. So update, cam belt is intact. Doesn't look like it's slack or could have jumped. It looks very intact. I'm sure it's not that would have been snapped, or it would have been loose, but that feels pretty fine to me. So like I said, the only other thing I can think of is oil starvation. Either the oil pump seized, but that would definitely bring on an oil light. Sometimes the car brings on the oil light late when it's about to seize. I don't know why VW designed it so terribly, but it's the truth. They make it like that. I don't know why. At the last of the engine, then the oil light goes on, but then it's too late. The damage is done. So for some reason, it's always been like that with VW. Sometimes Audi also. Audi's a bit more sensitive, but anyways. So the next thing I must do is drain the oil and see what comes out of there. Probably be metal filings. But yeah, I can almost say with surety that the engine is not turning. And so now we have to drain the oil and then see if we find metal filings there. After that, we have to take off the sump and see how the bearings look, and then it becomes an engine. So we're already in an engine job now. One way or another, it's engine, because it's not turning. So yeah, I'm just doing all the smaller things, because obviously the engine is quite a job. So yeah, just an update. I also spoke to Zaid now, so I filled him in. So the only place where the seizure could have happened that's not allowing the engine to turn is either on the camshafts, which is at the top of the engine here, or it's at the bottom of the engine where I was turning down there. I don't know if you can see that thing, that's a pulley. Then I will know the crankshaft is biting or the camshafts are biting. So then at least we know that. But end of the day, something has bitten here. But like I said, I have to drain the oil like I was telling him. I mean, if you look at the time now, it's busy on this car probably for about 4 hours now, more or less. So that's how long I've been on the car, stripping and just checking everything. I really thought it was going to be a starter or something, you know, easier. and but it doesn't seem, it seems like it's in the engine as far as I can see. And like I told you, the dipstick that's dry was the number one thing that told me something not right here. It's very dry. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that one of those two either seizes. Either the cam seized first at the inside here, it's biting metal to metal, or the crankshaft down there. So must let me know if I must continue to strip here and drain the oil and check further, because I did tell him about the engine replacement versus overhauling. It's much more expensive to do an engine over, and you can't do a half a engine. You can, but then you must hope that it's going to be fine. Because once our engine run dry, lots of guys will say they just do the bottom piece or they just did the top. For me, that's not something that's going to last. It's a quick way, it's not the right way. So yeah, so I was just about to drain the oil now. Obviously I was working at the top mostly and turning the crank. I didn't even look here, but I was so shocked when I was about to go to the bottom to drain the oil. I was so shocked. There's a hole in the engine. So at some point someone drove and knocked. There's even running out there at the back. There's a whole lot of holes in this engine. There's probably very little oil left. I think most of the oil ran out. So there's your answer. At some point the car hit something, all the oil ran out, and the motor seized. There's your answer. Yo, I didn't even see this until now. So it's definitely oil salvation. Now we can say that without a doubt. The oil is gone.